So I get these leaves. This is obviously half burnt, but I get these leaves from Connecticut because like the leaf on the Dutch is like a Connecticut shade leaf. Did you grow up smoking Dutches at all? Like, did you grow up smoking blunts?
A little bit, yeah, for sure, totally.
Makes me feel good.
Yeah,
I think definitely East Coast shit.
A lot of people don't know like Connecticut's big in the the tobacco game. Like
that's what Cubans are wrapped in. Yeah,
a lot of connoisseurs want that Connecticut leaf, so it's cool.
So they I get it from this place called Leaf Only, in Middletown, at Middlefield are those closer together, Middletown and Middlefield? So like that area, and they have all these different, like they have the Connecticut shade leaves, and they also have Connecticut shade leaf in Ecuador that they grow. So it's like a genetic.
That's cool.
So Connecticut shade leaf is like a strain.
Yeah, tobacco's pretty cool like that. I've definitely I traveled to Aruba one time and I visited a tobacco farm down there, and I did like a whole tour, and they were really? big on like the genetics, and basically they brought tobacco seeds from Cuba and all over the Caribbean, and it's very similar to pheno hunting and everything we do with cannabis. So it was cool talking to them and learning all about that. But yeah, there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
This podcast is brought to you by The Bakery in Cohoes, New York. This is one of my favorite dispensaries in New York. They have the best menu. We're proud to be on it. The best staff. Mike has become like a mentor to us out in New York, especially when it comes to upstate. Be on the lookout for podcasts and more collaborations that we're going to be doing together. The Bakery, upstate New York, in Albany, Capital District, and Cohoes, man, that's the spot. Breakfast Connections Dutch Master hats are available now on breakfastconnections.co. These things are dope, paying homage to our original Connecticut roots. We're not able to put tobacco on the blunts, but the whole reason we even did the blunts in the New York market was that we found this cone that was able to like taste the weed and have that good experience that we remember with the Dutch Masters. So that's why we're kind of paying homage with the Dutch Masters hats. We're in tons of dispensaries, from in the Adirondacks out to Utica, Capital District down to the Bronx, and Misha's Flower Shop in Brooklyn. We're going to be expanding into the city a little bit more. We also have Living Soil grown indoor flower that's going to be under $40, I'm pretty sure. That's a steal. Some of the best weed in the New York market. I feel confident in saying that. Around $40, that's pretty good. Look out for those bags, Breakfast Connections 8th bags, Breakfast Connections blunts. We still got some of those more affordable 8ths of the outdoors from last season, but we wanted to ramp it up with some more Living Soil indoor grown flower. I think that's it. Back to the show.
I'll give you a proper introduction now. Steve from Trout. It's a Trout Farm. What's like the brand?
Trout and Company.
Okay.
Trout Hash on Instagram. So,
yeah. And like we were saying a bunch of times while we're here, we're doing our cool little like wake and bake show, and you were telling me a little bit about like the brand and like what it represents. Like when I got to your farm earlier today, I was like, there's something about it. Like I told you, I don't know if it's just time in Humboldt or just growing weed and being in the game for like almost 15 years now. There's something about like early morning weed farm shit, totally. And there's a vibe. So like when 100%. We went to go visit your farm, you guys have the headlamps, like getting it, harvesting early, bucking it down, preserving those terps, like you were saying, is like super special and cool. And for some reason I was telling you, I was like, I don't know, these products you're telling me about and seeing what you guys are doing with your small team, it felt like the logo and the brand. So I want to know a little bit more about the brand because I feel it. And sometimes like the energy you give these plants as a small craft farmer, it resonates,
Yeah, that makes sense. Totally. Yeah, there's a lot of passion that's going into each one of these plants, and a lot of little bit of soul, like I told you before. But yeah, so Trout, the name Trout comes from, my dad was a grower back in the day, and a huge fly fisherman, so everybody called him Trout. And as growing up as a kid, I was at family gatherings, I was always Little Trout. And that was kind of what I grew up with. And So now that we're doing this, it's kind of like a little bit of a homage to him and everything he did and you know, my family.
You guys are from Vermont, you said?
Yeah, Vermont, Massachusetts.
I knew some fucking dude. Like when I was doing packs and shit in Cali back in the day, like my OG plug. Shout out Trav from Lobster Fam. Producers and homies know him. It's funny because he's like Lobster Family Farms, and his roots are from Vermont as well, his whole family. But in our little town in Connecticut, in Branford, Connecticut, there's a little town called Stony Creek. And they were known for like funny little things. Like obviously New Haven County is like known for pizza and shit. But like this little town in Branford, Connecticut is where they get the pink granite. You ever seen like pink granite?
Yeah.
It's called Stony Creek granite.
Totally.
And his family's from Stony Creek, and his great grandfather and grandfather were all like lobstermen. So now he's like,
Yeah, that's cool.
we used to do shit in the Bay,
Yeah.
and that was my OG. And I remember we were like moving packs, and he had like, dude, the stories you tell me, like people in Vermont, like you guys there was like weed gangsters.
Oh yeah,
You guys got
for
down.
I mean,
dude.
I think it was kind of even like maybe pre-Cali and pre-Humboldt times or around similar times. Like a lot of that same stuff was going on in Western Massachusetts too.
Yeah.
You know, chem family.
Yeah,
and that's where all that comes from. So, it's not just Cali, man. Vermont, Massachusetts, even upstate New York. I mean, you know, sour, obviously.
Right.
You know, like there's huge cannabis history and cannabis cultivation in the Northeast.
Yeah. And I don't know, man. I was like hustling packs and in the game in our little way in Connecticut. And I don't know, we're smoking blunts and just being idiots running around. And like, we were kind of like the custies to Cali people, I would say. You know, and it wasn't till I moved away, actually, I started to learn more about like East Coast cultivators.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because it was so hidden because it was like so illegal, right? And it was like so like, I don't know.
Definitely.
Yeah, because like they were so fucking hidden.
Definitely
You know?
more hit. I mean, yeah, it's, you know, people in Cali were able to be much more open for like
Even the
20
lifestyle
20
about
years,
it.
you know?
You know, like consumption of weed wasn't even as crazy.
100%. Yeah, I think even, you know, I mean, even there's stories back in the 70s and 80s. I mean, people were flying packs from Cali back to the East Coast. It was a huge thing. So, yeah, it's, I mean, if you think about it, even 5 years ago in New York, it was serious. Cannabis was a serious problem. You know, if you were caught with it. So
Yeah.
it's times have changed a lot for sure, and I think that's probably where that comes from. You just don't hear the mainstream. You don't hear as much about the cultivation that happened in the Northeast.
And secret society shit.
Yeah,
You know? And like the only thing people really knew too was like the city, and they had those delivery services and shit. And
Totally.
I think it connects to like this funny. Did you do any of those events like Revelry or Hall of Flowers, any of that stuff?
I've never actually been to either Revelry of Hall of Flowers. You know, none of the bigger like legal events, but I was kind of just around the scene a lot more like a few years ago when it was a lot of the kind of underground events that were going around a lot more.
Yeah, we were doing that in Connecticut.
It's cool to see that happening still as well.
Yeah, I heard. These guys were smoking the Lit by the Lake farmers up in Buffalo, and they were Eli Elevate ADK was telling me that they were like in the legacy market, and that term is so funny, like legacy. I don't know. Are we I guess we're legacy, but like it's just so weird to like say it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've just sold weed a long time. I only say on here too with people I meet, it's like real recognizes real. We can kind of even tell on the phone a little bit when we're chatting. If you bring up certain little things, you're like, all right, that dude's like done it.
It's pretty. Yeah, it doesn't take long. Just a quick conversation with somebody to, you know who's been around. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. You were talking about like not learning so much about the different cultivation and cultivators by going out west, and I think it was kind of a similar thing with me, just traveling out west and being involved with cultivators out there, learning a lot about the cultivation game, strains, everything, kind of becoming more of a cannabis connoisseur, but also like getting involved with some big OG growers in the Northeast, that like where I really learned a lot of, everything that I do, from, those are East Coast guys and like still are East Coast guys. They're doing big ops even now, so it's, respect to the East Coast, man. And
big time.
Like that's where I like really learned everything about genetics, cannabis, cultivation, like really becoming a connoisseur was like those old heads.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily going to Cali and the West Coast.
That's what mine was. I honestly didn't. I don't know like anyone who was growing in Connecticut at the time. Like when I didn't even know. Like it's so funny. We talk about it all the time, like not knowing where your weed came from when you were young. It seems like you had like a little better because you said like your dad was growing weed,
For
and
sure.
you actually could like have access to like people who were growing the herb. And was it? I mean, was it strictly business? I feel like a lot of East Coast growers. I don't think so. A lot of people were just, they loved it and they would supply the homies and like you'd be the plug. The definition of a plug back then, so different than even 10 years ago. Like the weed
sure.
guy was special. Like
Yeah,
being able to
and
get
a lot
good
of
weed.
a lot of it came from a grower. There wasn't so much of the broker scene. as
Yeah,
there is
that's
now,
true.
Yeah, I think it's like that everywhere. I know that there's studies that have been done on illegal cannabis cultivation and the black market
Mm-hmm.
in cannabis, and like the vast majority of people that are arrested or convicted of cannabis crimes, it's families supporting a secondary income. It's
Mm-hmm.
small growers basically, and that's the reality of most of the industry. And so I think people get kind of like, there's a lot of the broker scene now, and people get caught up in that, but it's still, I think, like traditionally the cannabis industry has just been a small kind of grassroots thing with growers.
And you said that you worked for some big companies too. You had like a little trial run of like getting in the legal market and growing with big
for sure.
farms.
Yeah.
And do you think, because all I was thinking about when you were just talking about that was the quality aspect and where that comes from, You could just dump that in there too if it's all. I got another big one.
One more hat.
Yeah, there you go. That's also East Coast shit. Hell yeah. I just was thinking about quality. There's some coffee in there. I'll probably go. There we go. Sizzle up.
There you go.
But yeah. And
Classic.
I wonder, is it the amount of plants? You know what I mean? Is it like, is the quality from like the idea of small batch, right, or micro? Everyone likes to use those words. Is it plant count? Is it structure of how you attack that plant count? Like, because remember when early, because you said you were out in Colorado too for a while. That was like early. People had the opportunity from investors, let's say, to do big grows, do like 100 lighters.
Yeah.
And then people are like, we're going to do 100 lights, but it's to be split in 24s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To try to like have a big operation, but you're still controlling smaller environments to keep the craft. But it still doesn't really, it's still, to me, I don't see it a lot as, it's almost like that doesn't even still work. Because amount of plants is amount of plants and labor and how you do it. Do you think it's the amount of plants or do you think it's structure?
So I think really what it comes down to is the decision makers in the company and what their goals are. You see a lot of situations where investors get involved and there's people who are decision makers in the company, and it's, the goals may be just financially driven. They may not be driven so much by passion. And I think that really, there's companies out there that are producing at a very large scale and producing really, really good quality, throughout this country. And I don't think it's impossible to produce large scale quality. I think it's really about like, who are the decision makers in the company and what like freedom do they have and what are their goals really of what they want the end product to be. So yeah, it's our buddy Ron knocking on the door. You'll meet him later.
Fuck
he's,
yeah.
He's a good guy.
Hope he comes to breakfast with us.
Yeah, for sure.
Dope.
He's a character. Definitely. Yeah, so
Seems like it's structure then, right? It seems like processes
and it's to what you were saying about like 420 lighters. I think that even like on a big scale, I think it can be easier just to manage like environmentals in a smaller room like that. And I don't think it's impossible at all to produce a large scale and produce high quality. I think it's really about the goals of who's in the company and what their decision making ability is. And you know, I've definitely been a part of companies that it's very difficult to push towards quality and push towards, you know, what I know is best for the consumer, and even what really I think is best for the company. But you know, it's with where we're at now and the products we're putting on the market, I feel really lucky to be in a situation where, you know, there's not a ton of outside investment, or, you know, it's not like it's a situation where you've got, you know, myself and a couple people here who really, really, really care about the products we're putting out, and quality is number one over everything, period, end of discussion.
Cool.
And, you know, it's really refreshing to be in a situation like that where we can really put something out there that we're all super proud of, you know.
Product speaks for itself, man. It's funny too because I haven't even seen it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm only seeing like harvesting and plants, but I know who's telling me that it's good, and I trust them. You know what I mean? We're like,
we'll get you some flavors. We'll get you.
I can't wait.
Right up,
I can't wait. But it's just been cool to go to these farms and tap in with a lot of you guys, because there's similar hearts to why I like them and why I want to get more of the stories out there, so people can get that feeling even before they consume the product. Because it's not even about us chopping up about stories. It's about like the love and passion of like the way you just said, it's all about quality, right? And, you know, there's not too many platforms and there's not too many avenues to like shout that out from the rooftops. Because again, being smaller, like you said, with investors and stuff, there's competition. It's called, I don't like using that word a lot, but like, I mean, we're in this booming, crazy industry, and like people have bigger marketing budgets than us, and they think a little bit different. And I try not to go to war when I, even in my head of like, because we always do that, right? Like every day we're like, fuck, this person's coming in, someone talks about that or whatever. But like, if you just focus on quality and get that shit out there, like, dude, good weed is good weed, right?
Totally.
Like, I smoke what I like, right? And I got to make sure that because I buy and sell my weed. So the shit I put in my bags, the shit I put in my blunts and pre-rolls, it's like, I got to be able to consume it. And I got to like it, enjoy it. Especially with my brand, because I try to put that out there. I want people to have a good feeling with that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's important because our brains can go in different directions. And what I really liked about you when we were talking a little earlier with the homie that works with you is you're not afraid to bring in maybe some of those things you learned from those big companies, or like have some type of structure as a big business. Because like a lot of us who come from, let's call it legacy or whatever, we're like, you know, we're a little stubborn.
Totally. 100%.
Don't want to deal with the problems that come, but like these problems kind of, it's not that they're harder or less harder, they're just different, because it was weird then and it's weird now. But
quality, I mean, it's a different world that we're all moving into, you know. There's benefits, you know. It's nice not having to worry about going to jail every day.
Yeah, dude.
You know, I'll say that's a good thing.
I was pretty numb to that shit.
But
like
yeah,
an idiot.
It gets like that after a while.
You know, then until something happens, you're like,
it gets like that. Yeah. But yeah, there's huge, like, I mean, it's just a different world we're moving into, and you can't expect that it's going to be the same. You know, and there's good things about it. There's unfortunate things about it, you know. Yeah. So it's but it's a new world that we got to just work with and figure out a way. Like, if we want, like you say, legacy people to really be in this industry and maintain in this industry, like, we got to be able to adapt to what it's changing to. So
you guys seem like a cool fucking crew, man. Definitely good product. I can't wait to like see that shit, like the full process from what we saw today and to like the end. Like with hash too, man. Like, what got you more into hash? Because was it when you moved to Colorado? Toasty.
What got me into hash? I guess I'll tell this. So, in Arcata in Humboldt, went out there for a trip, and a buddy of mine had iced out extracts, some papaya full melt, and took one dab of that. 15 minutes later, I was just like, wait, everybody stop the conversation. What did I just smoke? High school high. You know? And but yeah, like no, seriously, ever since like I had that one experience and it was like, wow, this is something that is totally different. You know, and I knew pretty much from that moment forward, like I needed to figure out a way to make this and make a similar product.
So it was about effect.
And it was totally about effect and flavor for sure, which
Okay.
I think flavor, you know, plays into effect. Totally. It's the whole experience.
I mean, terps
It's
literally have like physically affect you.
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
if you've ever been lucky enough to stand in a field of weed or stand in a grow room full of flowering cannabis, it's a totally different smell. It's you know, it's almost intoxicating just being in the presence.
There's something about fresh weed. That
So
fucking
yeah,
break
I
down
mean
the
it's
blunt, even if it
and
canoes.
and even different than like BHO. Like you get a lot of live resin BHO that you know you can still get some of that fresh flavor, but the unadulterated, I mean, just really, it's just like smelling the plant, and it's yeah, that's what's really special about solventless.
So it's
to
more
me.
like effect and flavor.
Effect, flavor, yeah, it's just the whole
You're
experience.
like, how do we
really.
get there?
Totally,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? It only
I mean,
just gets better in that process.
Was obsessed with it from the very beginning, even like before I was making hash, just like immediately.
There's something about it,
on
like
what do
you
I?
guys, the hash nerds.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like all you
Yeah.
guys up in hash church and everything. You really don't want to be in it. But yeah, like all my buddies like that are like watch the Hash Church show and Matt Rise and fucking Sub Cool back in the day and all that stuff. I remember when the bubble bags were like the thing, and when you had small grows, you're like make a bunch of bubble off like leftovers.
Shout out to Bubble Man. I've still rocked the bubble bags, the OGs.
Yep.
Yeah.
I used to take I forget, it was like dry ice and material,
Yep,
and you just
yeah.
put it in the bubble bag
Yep.
and just fucking get
Totally.
a bunch of keef.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's you'll get with the dry ice method, you'll get a little bit definitely more contaminant and whatnot in there. But doing the ice water, fresh frozen, and then sifting through the bubble bags, it's just like it's a totally different experience than either dried flower or even solvent extracts. One like I was saying before, the biggest thing that I love to be able to provide to people is like opening up a jar of melt or rosin, and just like they can smell that and they could put themselves basically in the field that I was just in that was harvesting
That's
it.
special.
And that's something as if for a flower smoker or any other product really, the consumer doesn't get that experience. And
No.
it's definitely it's a
hard
it's
task.
a very it's a higher end product. It's a I think opening up a jar of rosin or a jar of melt, like it's a luxurious experience, and I think it's it's a privilege to be able to provide
Fuck yeah,
that
dude.
type of experience for
You
people,
got a lot of
for
heart
sure.
in this project, bro.
Totally.
I'm starting to get this cookie terps in here. You're right.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about it, dude. You fucking
That jealousy. As soon as I smelled it, I was like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
Smell that cookie.
What strains are you guys running again? It was like the Colorado Chem was one of them, right?
Yeah, we do have a bunch of Colorado Chem. We're going to be doing that. A bunch of that's actually going to be coming down for flower to go with Simple Cannabis pre-rolls. We're doing kind of collabs with Simple Cannabis.
Cool.
Where we're doing live hash, bubble hash infused into pre-rolls. So like
That's gonna be a hitter.
some real smacker, super tasty, high-end pre-rolls. So a lot of the Colorado Chem's going to go to that. We got Original Glue.
No way.
It's like the...
Wait, so
yes.
what's original glue?
So,
That's
from my understanding, this all right.
yeah. I want to know because I know the GG4. I had one in Rhode Island that was crazy. That was like it was glue, but it was like skunk glue.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like these chems where like you don't really know which one is which.
Yeah, so my buddy Sherpa Seeds, he's a big OG. If you don't know, you should know.
I've heard of
for
it,
sure.
yeah.
You definitely should know Sherpa for sure. He was past the cut as GG4 a long time ago, from other Chem fam friends of his, and we really noticed that it was much more gassy, much more sweet. You could really taste the sour dub in there, and kind of just seemed different than a lot of the other GG4 cuts that we had seen around that people were growing. And from my understanding, that there was an original GG4 original glue cut that Josie Wales called original glue. And that was kind of held back and wasn't really passed out as much when the GG4 kind of really went around. And, you know, so from my understanding, that's what that original glue is. It's really the original, what a lot of people like remember from older GG4, like when they smoked it back in the day, that super, like the chem
that
gas,
shit hit the scene
sweet
hard.
Chem gas, just like,
That shit hit the scene so hard.
yeah. For good reason.
It was
really
cookie
good.
then glue.
Yep.
You know, it was like cookies, glue.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of like what even. I mean, I want to say the Trop shit that came out of nowhere.
Trop was big for like papaya and Trop and everything. Like
that goes with the hashing.
Bloom
right? Like
and
those
Oni.
those were like the hash strains. You know?
Totally. Yep. 100%. Those guys like really. Those guys help push the hash scene. You know, with those strains.
Do you think that they were like pheno hunting those and breeding for hash?
Oh yeah,
and those were probably the first ones at that scale.
They were very early.
I don't want to say that.
Early
That's probably
No, I don't know about the first ones. Yeah. I mean, we could go back, like I said earlier, thousands of years.
That's all they
some of the first people breeding,
and they were like, "Why are you smoking the flower?"
So yeah, but they were. I mean, like Bloom and Oni and Masonic. Those guys really pushed the scene early on with breeding for hash production. Totally in different flavors. I mean, you can just look at all the stuff that's out there now that goes back to that. So
more of flowers for hash, I feel like, at least in like the heady scene. You know, like more people are like, there's more strains being bred for hashing, especially with the Skittles shit, and like even like people are watching sour now.
Yeah.
Or whatever those sour phenols are.
Sure.
You know, like people love that shit.
There's legit sour out there still.
Talk to me. You can't just say something like that and not elaborate.
I'll just say you should talk to Sherpa Seeds.
Okay.
The real sour, if you want to know.
Fuck yeah.
I'll
awesome.
plug that real.
That's rad. Because I've heard so many different things, and the only thing that I know, which is going to be funny, I wonder if you'll connect a bridge here. Sour, what I remember, was like 2013, I would get this shit called Mountain Sour from Humboldt, and I'll get it for like 24 a pound, and I'll do my pack thing here, and people who know those were great numbers. And that was the sour to me. And I think it was just outdoors, just like really well-grown outdoors of whatever this sour was. And I haven't seen it.
What time period?
2013.
Yeah, I mean, that was like a little bit later on at that point. But I mean, yeah, in the 2000s, there was a lot. The sours made their way out to Cali and were growing big, in Humboldt and whatnot. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's if that was the real deal. And there's definitely still people in Humboldt that are growing it now for sure.
Yeah, I haven't been over there in a while. I gotta get my ass back west and just like buy a fucking pound for myself.
You were talking about being up at Elevate and Saranac Lake and everything, and it's just like it reminds me so much of NorCal. It made me like, I was just up there like a week ago. I'm like, I gotta get back out to NorCal, man.
Yes,
it's
and I take it in from coming to the farms around here, because it's like I get a good feeling. Just it reminds me of NorCal, just being around trees, and then there's pockets of weed.
Yeah, the Adirondacks, man.
Yeah. And just like you said, the smell of fresh weed, having it be a little cold in the morning, something about that shit, man. It's fucking awesome. That's what I love about weed. I wonder if how much of a pastime that shit is now. Like, you know how they do like farm tours? Like dispensary owners be like, "Can we come to your farm?" And I guess they're trying to still capture that with shit like that. But the feeling we're talking about, it's tough, man, to like think. I'm just kind of sitting here reminiscing of the good old days, I guess, of being that guy, because like,
and I
wonder if it's dwindling.
I mean,
you're keeping it alive, and when it comes to passion,
it's definitely I mean, it's a part of history, and things are gonna change for sure. Moonshine ain't what it used to be.
Yeah, I tell these guys that who weren't really in the scene but love weed.
Yeah,
and I talk about that where I know people, if I were to, I've actually said this around them, I'd be like, fucking, it's like moonshine, man. Like, no one drinks moonshine. They're like, that's not true.
Totally.
So,
not
like,
true,
that,
yeah.
there's still fucking these like, the country's pretty big, and weed is such an essential part of communities. Like, I was talking about the weed man, and, like, why that was such a special thing, like, 20 years ago, because it was, like, a secret, and, like, if you wanted your good weed, you better fucking keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
You know, that old technique of, like, I only sell weed to people off reference. That was the shit.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's a fucking store.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It almost like is just like a piece of the times today too. Of like, you know, that was a time where like you had to maintain a good reputation to do anything in that world, and it's almost similar nowadays where it's like, you know, people in the cannabis industry or just in life, like it's like you'll see people just kind of acting like how they want with seemingly like or thinking that there's no repercussion. It's kind of, I don't know, it's just interesting thinking about that,
Brother.
but
I'm not saying names because I don't want to stir that shit up, even though I should, but it's fucking, we keep talking about, we talked about in the pod, we did a podcast with Eli too. And like, dude, I'm not perfect, but like I've been in situations where I could have snitched and I didn't. You know what I mean? And like
a lot of us have, yeah.
Yeah, and like seeing
Sure.
seeing what is going on from that side of things just irks me, where people will be like open about it. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not perfect and shit, but like I think there's a lot of weird foo-foo shit going on in this business game, that hybridization of where we come from and the suit and tie part of it now.
Yeah.
And it's like, where is your ethics? Where is your pride? Like you said, like these days, it just feels soft. Back in the day, we were fucking,
definitely,
for better or for worse, gritty.
for sure. And it's like everything. Like there's good and bad that comes with that. You know, like you know, I think there's definitely like parts of that life in that industry that I'm sure that I know about myself. I'm sure plenty of other people are happy to be moving away from and
Yes.
happy to, you know, just be moving in a different direction in life.
Getting
But-
older, a lot of families and
Exactly,
shit can't be
right?
trapping, where they're going to
Exactly.
get taken away.
So, yeah, like I mean, it's just like I was saying before. It's just we gotta adapt. We gotta figure out a way to be a part of this new world that the new cannabis scene is. But you know, and I hope that people that kind of come from a similar background stick it out and do maintain with the passion and figure out a way to adapt and don't just be hard-headed and against, you know, fight the system. I'm all for it, but yeah, we gotta figure out a way to like keep ourselves a part of this industry, and
Yes.
and I think it's like something that we probably owe it to consumers. We owe it to the culture to kind of bring this history where cannabis came from and keep it alive and keep the soul in it.
Steve, you're the fucking man. For real, it's just cool because, like, dude, I met you today. So, like, a lot of times with this shit, you don't really know, and I just keep
Yeah.
believing in, because this is back in the day. Like, back in the day, we'd be, hey, man, like, you got this weed for this, but we do business, right? So, like, doing this business the way we're doing it now still feels right.
Yeah,
Because of
that's
people
cool.
like you that we go out and meet. You know, we got cameras and shit. But it still feels like, hey, Steve, like, what are those numbers? You know what I mean? So it still feels
Totally.
like that. So, like, I love what you just said about keeping it alive. You're like, fucking giving me faith, man. You know what I mean? Again, sometimes we get in our heads about that transition into the legal market and the weird things that will battle you, because this shit's tough, man. Like, we don't have the biggest budgets and shit, but we can work together and have fun still. Say it like that instead of having it be so serious. Like, we could still have fun because moving packs was
100%.
fun. That shit was cool, man. We were like part of a club.
Yep. And even in the legal industry, like I've been in places where, man, it's like it turns into soul sucking, and then you're at places where like, wow, this is fun again, and this feels like home, and it's like, you know, like we talked about earlier, it's like coming here, it was like coming back home again, just like,
Yeah.
man, we're doing it. It's like the good old days, man.
Yep.
This is fun. We got a small crew. Everyone's got each other's back. We're all super loyal. We're down for the cause, and you know, the team just makes it happen. And like that's another part of it too. It's just like that's the fun part of it too, is just working with a crew and being a part of a team to just do what it takes to make it happen. And yeah.
Fuck yeah, Steve. It was great having you on, man. You're fucking you're one of the best guests we've had. I like saying it like that too. It's not like the homies be like, what a great guest. But do me a favor.
It was a fun time, man.
Tell people what stores you're in, what areas, or any products coming out, things like that. I'm gonna probably try to get this one out quicker than some other ones.
Yeah, so we just dropped. We're dropping this week in New York, Con Bud.
Lower East Side?
Yeah, I believe so.
Cool.
We're out in Binghamton, Johnson City, Greenery
Shout
Spot.
out Shane.
Reef Cannabis, Sashi's in Saratoga.
Masons. Yeah, they're good people.
Herb Cave up in Plattsburgh. So pretty much all around the state. We're gonna try to hit everywhere. I know we're gonna be in Cushmart next week. So
Nice. That's in Buffalo, right?
yeah.
You're hitting
I'm
the
not sure if we're actually hitting the. We'll figure it out. Either Brooklyn or Buffalo. Let's try to get in both of them. But
nice.
yeah, man. It's we're gonna try to get out all over the state. Definitely keep your eyes peeled for the live rosin. We're gonna have multiple consistencies of rosin. We're gonna be putting out melt. Yeah,
I can't wait.
It's gonna be some
I'm gonna
fire
be buying
coming to
that shit
people
and smoking
for sure.
it. Thank you, man.
Yeah, it's good, man.
Hey, good shit.